You may have seen the programme that I did recently for Dispatches, where I was advising people how to get a pay rise at work. Don't worry if you didn't, because I've had an awful lot of feedback and requests from people asking me to go into more detail. So that's what this series of videos is now about. And it's a series because I've broken it down into 5 parts, and those 5 parts are about preconditioning. So how to precondition your boss or your organisation. It's about being proactive and being aspirational. It's about thinking from their perspective, from your boss or your organisation's perspective. It's thinking about how you want to hear the response, about how you handle the rejection, the no, which you're probably going to get, and then also about how to be creative when the negotiation really gets going. So I hope you take lots from this. Make sure that you like or follow on Facebook, on YouTube and on Twitter, and that will alert you to the rest of the series and all of the other videos that we're doing, whether that be on buying a house or selling a car and all of the other aspects which affect the way that you negotiate. So I hope you enjoy it. In this next section in the series of how to negotiate a pay rise, I'd like you to really think about, well, it's partly about your mindset and that of the other party in this particular negotiation. And this very specifically is around, well, whose perspective are you considering this negotiation from? And I'll tell you what I mean from that. In fact, we can broaden this out to any negotiation, but it really applies in pay negotiations. And that is that if you go into this negotiation thinking about what you've got to lose, or thinking about, well, I can't ask for more, what if they think I'm cheeky or rude, or what if they sack me? Well, do you know what? Then they can't sack you for asking for a pay rise. If you go in thinking any of that, then the Americans call it negotiating with yourself before you've even gone in there. So you don't want to do that. Instead, think about the whole negotiation from the other party's perspective. So that means thinking about, well, what have they got to lose? That doesn't mean they're going to lose you as an individual, and I certainly wouldn't threaten that, by the way. Don't ever threaten that if you don't get this pay rise, you're going to leave, unless that really is the case, because they just might call you bluff. But nevertheless, think about it from their perspective. They might be thinking that. They might be thinking, we don't want to lose this individual. They're almost certainly thinking that they don't want this individual to be demotivated or unhappy in their work. They probably, as an individual, don't want to be thinking that, well, they don't want you thinking that they're not supporting you as their line manager, if that's who you're dealing with here, or your immediate boss. So think about all of those things from their perspective. In fact, it was just a couple of weeks ago, I was working with an MD of a business, happened to be based in South Korea. It doesn't matter, could have applied anywhere in the world, but he was in the UK and attended one of our courses. And one of his objectives was about his team. And he said all the time he has people in his team being really proactive, and preconditioning him. He used a different word, but that's what he was talking about all the way through the year, about how they should be on more pay. And what he was thinking about was, well, I don't want to demotivate these people. I certainly don't want to lose them. I want a happy, motivated staff. So all he was thinking about was the fact that he couldn't not give them a pay rise. So now he wasn't going to share that with them. He wasn't going to tell them that. But if they recognize that, well, that's going to give them a tremendous advantage. So think about how you're approaching this negotiation and whose perspective you're looking at it from, yours or theirs. Think about what they have to lose. Think about their problems or their opportunities, and that will really change the dynamic of the negotiation.